All right, welcome back. We're going to start a new section now. We're going to start working with area and how we go about finding area and volume of different shapes. So today we're going to talk about pretty much the common shapes and finding the area of these two-dimensional shapes. The lesson today is going to be in about two parts. The first few minutes is just going to be going over just kind of the basics of being able to find the area and make sure you got all these formulas down and taken care of. We're going to look at some examples of that, and then we'll kind of work in the backwards direction. And then we'll talk about a little bit about the circumference and the perimeter and those things as well. But vast majority of today is going to be talking about the area of figures and then of just kind of our regular figures, and then we'll work on to finding the circumference and the area of a circle. So just some basic ones. Finding the area. Remember, when you're finding the area, you're essentially finding the stuff inside. Okay, so you're finding the number of, technically speaking, 1 by 1 units that are within a figure. So really our basic ones are square, rectangle, parallelogram. They're all the same thing. Okay, we've talked about parallelograms, two opposite sides parallel, and all those things happen. So squares, rectangles are really parallelograms. So when we go about finding the area of a parallelogram, that's kind of the first one that I want you to get down. To find the area of a parallelogram, you're going to take the area is equal to the base times the height. The base and the height, a couple things with the base and the height. The base and the height are going to be perpendicular to each other. It's going to form a 90-degree angle with the base and the height. The height, kind of as you think about it, is if you stand up and put your arm up and you hit the top of the object, that's going to be the height. Where you're standing is going to be your base. That doesn't necessarily always have to be the case, but that's just really a good way to figure out, kind of what these different things look like. So that's the first one that we really need to put emphasis on today. The second one that we're going to put emphasis on today is the triangle in general. So this one over here. A triangle is just essentially a half of a parallelogram. So to find the area of a triangle, it's 1/2 base times height. And again, that base and height are going to be perpendicular to each other. They're going to form a 90-degree angle. And the base and the height, the height doesn't necessarily have to be inside of the triangle. It just needs to be perpendicular to the base or a line extended. Okay, so that's the next one. Next one I want you to look at and get written down, and if you have to press pause within these, is a trapezoid. To find the area of a trapezoid, the area of a trapezoid is 1/2 a plus b times h. Now, a and b are the bases of your trapezoid. And remember, in a trapezoid, when we talked about that figure, the bases are parallel to each other. So the two bases are the sides that are parallel. The height is the length that connects those two bases. And again, just like in a parallelogram and a triangle, they are going to be perpendicular to each other as well. Okay, so you get those three. So we got a parallelogram, base times height. Triangle, 1/2 base times height. Trapezoid, 1/2 a plus b times h. And it's probably not a bad idea to, in just a second, press pause and make sure you have all four of these down. So you got one more. Last thing we're going to talk about is the area of a rhombus, which really is the same thing as a kite, as far as what the area is going to be. So the rhombus is 1/2 of, and this says PQ, but that's diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. So the rhombus is 1/2 of D1, D2 is another way to write it, and that's how you'll see it a lot of times. It's 1/2 D1, D2. Where D1 is diagonal 1 and D2 is diagonal 2. It's got PQ there, but it means the same thing. Okay, so again, remember, a square and a rectangle, those are just parallelograms. And we've got kind of those four highlighted ones are really the ones that we're going to concentrate on as far as this first part. And then we'll come back and talk about a circle here in just a second. But let's take a look at a couple of examples of things that you're going to have to do today. So you very well may have a figure that looks like this. Oh, I should probably not do it in a highlighter. So we've got this, and then we're going to go here, and go here, and we'll go like this. Okay, so we're going to have a parallelogram. So this is a parallelogram. And I'm going to give you this piece right here and tell you that this distance is 6 and that this distance is 10. And these might be centimeters or whatever. Okay, so first step is to identify it. It's a parallelogram. Opposite sides are parallel. Formula for a parallelogram: area is equal to base times height. Base times height. The base is 10. The height is 6. 10 times 6 is 60. So it's 60 centimeters squared. You're done. Go on to the next one. And you're done. Okay. Next one. Next one, maybe you have a triangle. Okay, so we see a triangle. We should automatically think 1/2 base times height. That's our formula. Well, now we got to figure out what the base and the height are. So remember, the height is going to be perpendicular to the base. And let's say that this is 4. And let's say that this distance is 10. And we'll call them yards this time. So my base is 10. My height is 4. So the area for this is going to be 1/2 of 10 times 4. Half of 10 is 5. 5 times 4 is 20. So it's 20 yards squared. And you're done. Nothing left to do. Okay. Next one, let's look at a trapezoid. So we have this trapezoid. Let's say that this is 6 and this is 14. And then we have this height. And the height is the perpendicular piece that attaches them. Let's say that this is 20. So the formula for a trapezoid, it was 1/2, and I think it said A plus B times H, where A and B are the bases. So it's going to be 1/2 of 14 plus 6, and it doesn't matter which order you put them, 6 and plus 14 or 14 plus 6. And the height of this is 20. Order of operations, have to do parentheses first. So it's 1/2 of 20 times 20. 1/2 of 20 is 10. 10 times 20 is 200. So this is 200 units squared. And you're done. Okay. Well, maybe the next type of question, maybe you want to find the area of a kite or a rhombus. So let's say we're going to find the area of a rhombus. But we're going to be given this time that D1 is equal to 8 and D2 is equal to 4. These are both centimeters. Well, it's a rhombus. Find the area of a rhombus. Area of a rhombus is 1/2 D1 D2. So it's 1/2 of 8 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16 centimeters squared. You're done. And you can kind of move on. So that's really the first type, finding those. Second type of question you're going to get today is you're going to be given a figure and you're going to be asked to find the missing part. So say that we have this triangle, and this triangle has a height now, let's say, is 13. And we know the area of this is 200 centimeters squared. And we want to find the height. So we got to find something now. Well, from formula for a triangle, we know it's 1/2 base times height. Well, we know the area now is 200. So that's going to be 1/2 my base, which I don't know, times my height, which is 13. So I hate fractions, so multiply by 2. So that's 400. I'm just multiplying to get rid of the fractions. Equals x times 13, or 13x. Divide 400 by 13. And you get 30.8. And this would just be centimeters, is going to be your height of the object. Okay, so in this case, you had to find the missing piece of it, not just find the area of it. Let's look at one more of those. Let's look at a trapezoid, because those tend to be a little bit more difficult. Let's give us the height is 6. Let's say that this is 12, and we want to find that piece right there. So first thing I like to do, oops, I got to give you the area. Let's say the area is equal to, let's say 200 again. We'll say centimeters squared. So this is centimeters, this is centimeters. So the area of a trapezoid is 1/2 of A plus B times the height. So in this case, the area is 200 again. That's going to be 1/2 of, one of my bases is 12, the other one is x, and I have to take that times the height, which is 6. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the fraction first because I don't like fractions, so I'm going to multiply each side by 2. So if I multiply each side by 2, that gives me 400 is equal to, now the half cancels out. So I still have 12 plus x times 6. There's a different way to do this one. I mean, you could have distributed in the 6 and done some other things, but this works. Now we have to distribute in the 6. So 400 is equal to 6 times 12 is 72 plus 6x. 400 minus 72 is 328. Divide by 6. You get 54.7 centimeters is that other base. Okay, so it's plug and play. Essentially, you just have to make sure that you give what they give you. The next thing we're going to talk about then is we're going to talk about how do you go about finding the area and the circumference of a circle, and we've already done this, so we're going to do this pretty quick. We did this in the last unit. So if we have a circle, we have this radius. Remember, the circumference is the distance around it. That's 2 pi times the radius. The area is pi r squared. And again, you're going to do these in 2 ways. You're either going to find the circumference in the area, or you're going to find the radius, depending on what you're given. So for this first one, let's say that we have a radius of 4, and we're going to find both the circumference and we're going to find the area. So the circumference, 2 pi times 4. 2 times 4 is 8. So that's 8 times pi. Just use your calculator. Round to the nearest tenth. That's approximately 25.1. And again, it's units squared. The area of this is going to be pi times r squared. So pi times 4 squared. So that's 16 pi. So 16 times pi is 50.3. Again, units squared. Sorry, circumference should have just been units. This is units squared. Okay. The last thing that you'll have to do is maybe have to find the circumference if you're given the area. So let's say we're given the area of a circle is 628 centimeters squared, and we want to find the radius of it. So we're given the area, we want to find the radius, or we could even find the circumference if we wanted to. So if we're given the area and we need to find the radius, the area of a circle is pi r squared. We know the area is 628. So 628 is going to be pi r squared. Divide both sides by pi because that's just a number. So 628 divided by pi is approximately 199.9. That equals r squared. Take the square root of that. You get 14.1. That's equal to your radius. Now you know what your radius is. So if you wanted to find the circumference, you could go 2 pi times 14.1. So 2 times 14.1 times pi. So the circumference is 88.6. centimeters. Okay, so there's a quick review, a quick 15-minute video today. You're only going to do questions 1 through 16 on the worksheet today. You don't do the other one. We're going to talk about regular polygon ones tomorrow and how you go about finding the area of regular polygons. So you're just doing questions 1 through 16 on the homework today. We will cover the rest of that tomorrow, as well as looking at what we call possibly composite figures. So you've got what you need. If you have any questions, make sure you ask those tomorrow. We'll get those straightened out, and we will see you then.